I'm Meena Kandasamy. I'm a writer. I write novels and poetry, and I also write the occasional political commentary. And I'm also a translator from Tamil to English. Books have been life-changing for me, and I'm sure that's what makes me believe that, books in a sense, like I read The Annihilation of Caste by Dr. Ambedkar, and I just wanted to go and set everything on fire, it made me so angry. And I read it at 17, I remember, and I read the autobiography of Malcolm X at some point, and these are books like that just set a fire in you. It doesn't happen often or doesn't happen always, but some books really have that potential. So what changed me is what I thought is a good vehicle for people like me to access change. So I think those are slightly interconnected. But I think the other aspect that I really want to probe is also to understand the public sphere in India. If you're a man, I think, even in India, I think it's much more easier to join politics, for instance, actively, or attend meetings, or be a playwright, or go and act, or do whatever you want. I think with women there's so much more boundary keeping on where you are, and I think that sense a page is something that's doesn't look intimidating to anybody. It doesn't, like, writing seems so harmless that you are allowed to do it, and that's also why a lot of people end up doing it. I think I would be much more useful doing actual real political work, and I think that a lot of my passion now, like, I'm doing this because I think this is the right fit at this point. So When I Hit You is one of my most intimate books. So it tells you the story of a young woman who is caught in a bad marriage for a short time. So in India you have a tendency where if a woman gets hit by her husband, they don't think that the man did something wrong, they think that the woman did something wrong, that's why she's getting beaten up. So this book is trying to unpack what happens, when there's domestic violence and when women try to react to it, or how does society view all of that. But I also think it's a book that is a book full of hope, because in that sense I think this is a book where you realize that writing is such a powerful thing, because if you're writing about something, it means that you're already dealing with it. There's somewhere in the book it talks to you about, the woman is witnessing violence and she thinks, I'm going to write about this. And then she thinks that because she thinks she's going to write about it, she knows that it's going to end. By writing something, you take the story from the realm of the personal or an individual experience into something that's collective and shared, but you also take it into the realm of the political and the public, because others are going to read, talk, write about it and share it. So the story shouldn't be reduced to the first part of the title, which is When I Hit You, but the story is the second part of the title, is the portrait of the writer as a young wife. How do you reach people changes from time to time. Now everybody's on YouTube. Maybe 100 years ago people were just reading newspapers and they were like this, very big thing. At some point cinema was doing that role, So as a person, I think I'm very flexible in the sense of understanding that, sometimes you have to take your ideas and go to where the people are. I think especially with poetry, I realized that. So recently I wrote this poem on the Hathras gang rape, this woman who got raped in Delhi, near Delhi in Uttar Pradesh. And then she died in the Delhi hospital, and then the police burnt her body. So this poem was called Rape Nation. So I shared it on my Twitter page, and on Twitter alone I got 1 million engagements. And I'd never had that kind of audience in any poetry magazine. If you go there, and then I shared it on Insta, and then then it went viral on Instagram. But also the other thing was that this was translated into Hindi, Malayalam, Kannada, Tamil, and it was read at protests. Like, people are actually reading the translations at protest meetings to condemn this rape. And then you realize that that's also what you want poetry to do, especially political poetry. You want it to be disseminated in that manner. You want it to be heard with the people, because it's a little bit about, I think, everyone's lives. Writing political poetry, getting recognized by your peers as, a political person among them is one thing. It still is something, but it's one thing. But to be recognized by the people on the street as somebody who echoes their anger, or somebody who captures a certain moment. I think that's a recognition that you cannot even ask for, because that's not an award, you know, that's not an application process, that's not a nomination process, that's not like, you know, a stage, or, you know, that doesn't have anything related to power. It's something that comes from the ground.